Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Coffee Review. It is a beautifully sunny second day of July, which means it is 4th of July week and one of my favorite holidays of all time. Going to go have some fun and do all those things. So, thanks for the note, Dave. You'll notice we've got a special guest today. We've got our friend Kyle Davis from our support team here to join us again because today is all about support and Q&A, and it's going to be all over the place, right? We're going to be jumping around for different topics. So if you have any questions, curiosities, any of those things, just put them in the chat and we'll answer them as we go. So before we start, as always, good morning, Michael. How's it going today?
Good. Excited to be here. We have some amazing topics and glad we were able to get Kyle to join us to talk about some support and just updates and what are some key features in terms of being able to do that. But excited there are updates and continuous updates to our beloved software. So excited to finally see some ground movement after some long awaited time. Jason and I have always gone back and forth about new things to talk about. So finally get some updates so we can always have new things for all of you in terms of conversation. So enough about that. Welcome, Kyle.
Oh, welcome.
How are
Thank
you
you.
doing?
Doing well. I'm looking forward to anything that we have here. So it's one of those that, Bluebeam, even on the support side of it, we constantly using it and trying to work out through things. And so definitely excited to be here.
Perfect.
And Kyle, you've been with ATG for quite a long time, considering acquisitions and all that. So you're certainly one of our standout members of our support team and always doing different things. So besides Bluebeam, what else do you specialize in?
Well, I specialize in a lot of the Autodesk and CTC tools as well. I do mostly on the architecture side, but I have branched out a little bit on structure and some MEP just by, I would say not necessarily osmosis, but like just doing the support and getting questions and trying to answer as much as I can. So I'll pick up as whatever I am offered as a case to learn more and strive to keep going on it so that it even then translates into Bluebeam, because then you get people that on the MEP side, structure side, that use it too. So definitely got to branch out in all of them.
Absolutely, and I bet that keeps you on your toes and always doing something different depending on the time of day.
Yep.
And how long have you been here, Kyle?
Well, I was back in ATG. I was in 2018 when I came over for there, but then I was with CTC since 2009.
So it's been a while.
Yep.
That's right. Because did you go on your sabbatical yet?
Not yet. Actually, I'm eligible this year.
Nice.
Too, and I'm excited. So we're going to go down a rabbit hole, as I mentioned a few different times, bouncing around different topics, whether it be Kyle's history with support or other things that we've got going on here at ATG. But mainly, today was just support, right? Why are we talking about some of this stuff right now? And as Michael and I were sort of talking before we got started, there's some new stuff coming to Bluebeam, right? We're seeing more frequent updates, and that's part of their mission, right? They had wanted to do something with to highlight the value of subscription, right? With a subscription model, you're able to get updates more frequently, and some of these updates have been bigger.
Yep.
Some of them are like minuscule operational hotfix type of stuff, but some of them are adding new functionality that's going to change the way that we interact with Bluebeam Review. And one of those updates came last week. So we didn't talk about this on last week's morning coffee review because this happened a couple days after, or a couple hours after the episode. But they added a new update, which I did install. So it's 21.2.0. So everybody should see when you go up to check for updates, if it didn't automatically prompt you, or if your administration has this set up for you. We'll talk about that after this, Kyle. You'll have the availability to download Review 21.2.0. And in this update, we get tool chest search. This is one of the things that I think is really cool. I think it's super handy because some folks maybe have a little clutter, right? We talk about sometimes the tool chest being a junk drawer, and you just throw a bunch of stuff in there and you don't take the time to organize it. But sometimes you need to go find Scotch tape or whatever random thing that you were looking for. And having that search in there is quite handy. So that's just over here in your tool chest, regardless of profile. now you will see a search button. So now if I want to find landscape or find area or find line or find whatever, you can simply type that into the top of the tool chest panel and you have a handy search. Additionally, you have status keyboard shortcuts. Oh boy. So these are pretty cool for our status friends out there who live and die by this. Now you can go super fast. The customization for these seems to be a little tricky, but it will allow you to add those statuses, and I'll show you that in it shortly as well. Now the auto align, we've talked about this a couple weeks ago. It was a newer function that was added about 2-3 months ago, maybe. Now they made it even faster. Now, I don't know how we would ever be able to quantify 8 times faster because it only took a minute, or not even a minute, a second anyway. But they've made that quicker. Additionally, they've added the ability to export the latest status only.
There's a question back on your number one. Does the search on the name type toolbox name? Is it the toolbox? Like, is it the tool name? Can you search any metadata?
Yeah, it looks like it's doing that. So if I type contractor review, it just shows that one, right?
What about a label? So like if you highlight something, so let's see.
Try. Oh, I know how to type. Yeah, it's getting the comment.
Okay, cool.
So
not too shabby.
Right, so, and it said, how about door? I do have the architecture one on mine. When I type door, it does come up as the subject. It did find door. So it should be able to filter by that.
Yeah, it's getting subject and comment and label. So, and title and all that stuff. So it's searching for a ton of data. And look how fast it is, right? It seems to be fairly real time where it's sorting through that. So very cool functionality there.
Maybe I do need to update.
Yes, you do. You should. So German localization for our German friends, Guten Tag. We don't play with that around here, so I can't tell you how well the translation works. And then a big one, Kyle and I talked about this as soon as this update came out. I was texting with Kyle, like, does this finally mean that review in virtual machines or VDIs or whatever will be better? And we're hopeful. Is that the right word? Kyle? Hopeful. So
I mean, what is their comment on that? So it's pretty vague. They're going to support it because they didn't support it before, right? Whenever there was a non-persistent environment, if I remember correctly, Kyle, right? They said they just didn't support it.
Yeah, one of their biggest things was just like right out front, they were basically saying that review is not supported on a lot of virtual machines. And it seemed to be because of the single user. Sometimes the virtual machines, when they're logging in, it kind of picks one of them machines. And so therefore it could cause some issues of the sign in, thinking it's on multiple devices and stuff. So they were just saying, well, right now that's not working. So hopefully with this one, it's improving it. So maybe eventually it's just kind of slowly getting to where it's not going to be able to have that kind of issue. So I haven't got the official from what Bluebeam says on it, but it is one of those that we're continuing to monitor what that is.
Yeah, because VMs are becoming as long as it's a dedicated VM, right? It's fine. But if it's not a dedicated user, because essentially when you're having a dedicated user, it's an individual Windows environment, right? So you're not working on like a similar area, and I'm probably not talking completely correctly about it because I'm not a infrastructure setup person. But then when you're having a non-dedicated VM and it's shared, that's where Bluebeam gets confused as it's being used by multiple people, right? One person's logging in.
I will say I'm still not 100% on the IT portion of it as well, but it is one of those that, depending on what type of environment you have for that VM setup, because I know there's a ton out there. There's the Azure, there's the some of those things that when they log in, it's kind of doing certain things to the back end, and some of that login states and all that, it's constantly getting wiped or reloaded, or you're now on this one, and it just how it bounces around to each of the stations and stuff. So it was causing login issues, or basically it was might be using someone else's login somehow, and so that's why they're. I'm assuming in the back end, Bluebeam is trying to do some of the things to fix it. They may not necessarily always support it in the regards. If there's issues, they may say you have to go to your VM admin to help with it. But they're in trying to improve it so that it be better for them. So.
Yeah, like I know Advanced 2000 works from a virtual VDI experience, but I know a lot of others that do not. And clients ask us that all the time, especially with the new subscription model. So just to be aware.
Yeah, I was trying to Google search because I know there's that other page saying that virtual machines are not supported. So it's moving. It says improved support means that they're actually supporting it. So don't know exactly what that means, but excited to see that work out, because that did seem to work better when you had an open license under the perpetual Review 20 and earlier model. But for Review 21, they've left that gap. So if you don't have a solution like Advanced 2000, or you've got some other one that's not compatible, then you're not being able to use Review a whole lot, which means you're probably not tuning into Morning Coffee Review. But in the end, this might help more firms make that transition. We're seeing more. We had a conversation internally with ATG yesterday that, with climate change or the weather that's happening, these big hurricanes and more tornadoes and stuff like that, like, what are you going to do if your office gets wiped out, right? There's more of a push to move things to the cloud and have cloud computing and cloud servers and all those things to be able to continue working should disaster strike or who knows, whatever. So not to get all doom and gloom on a beautiful Tuesday morning, but it seems to be a trend for a lot of the firms in the AEC space to start looking at what that next step is, because servers aren't getting any cheaper, nor is office space to house them and all that other stuff. So,
I mean, the other crazy part is the cost for these data servers and the energy cost. And so, there's a real big issue both ways if you look at it, because all these data centers that they're putting up, the amount of energy it takes to cool them. And that's why location is great for them. Then you just put them in Antarctica and then we should be fine.
Right. Or up here in Minnesota, we got space for them. But I mean, heck, we could probably heat up communities with them.
Yeah, because they built them out here in Phoenix. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, right. Unless they're all solar powered, but I don't think there's enough there. So it's an interesting time.
It's 110. You have to double your cost just to cool the data centers.
Yeah. No, thank you. Moving on, new PDF units. So now you can create new or insert page using any units independent of your preferences setting. So going back to another update, if I go to preferences now, I can use a search bar there and type units and get right there, and units will tell me that it's in inches. And then I can have, my different settings here. This is telling me, I can move this a little bit, using any units independent. So if I want to have a metric page, I can do that mixed in with my imperial pages. So that's pretty cool. I don't know how useful that would be, but I could see that being handy for some folks who are doing, mechanical stuff along with their architectural stuff, for example. And then hide individual markups. I got feelings about this one. I mean, I can see it being handy for sessions because you're able to, simplify what things are if there's overlapping stuff. But ideally, if we were all using Review correctly, we're thinking about visibility in mind. So the example that Review showed was just, it looked like one of our old sessions that had 500 people in it. Remember that, where it just got stuff everywhere? Then yeah, it would be handy to go hide those things. But in a typical workflow, how often would you all use this?
Hold on. Can you go to PDF since I haven't updated? You know me.
Okie dokie. Let's go.
And I want to know what it does. Is it filtering it? Because that's fine. Or is it hiding it somewhere to unhide it?
profile real quick. So if I go put in a thing here, all right. So
and then
now,
add one more with nothing, just like
Oh.
a cloud or something, because you're gonna hide one and not the other.
yeah. Well, we're gonna make it a different color because why not, right? And we will fill that with orange. Now it's just in my way. I can't see what's underneath there, right? So I want to be able to hide that, and I can right click and choose hide, and now it goes away. But notice it gives me that capability, and if I hover over it, it shows me where it is. So that part is cool.
And it's transparent. That's kind of also nice there too. So when you
Mhm.
hover over it, instead of it being solid where it was, it kind of transparent to say, hey, this is what I've been hidden.
Right. And that's
Hmm.
what I was worried about, that it was going to be like a layer that got turned off
Yeah.
or something, you know, because that would be disastrous. This is
Yeah,
very
my
obvious.
worry-
Tells you.
It was like Revit, where you hide something and it's buried in a little light bulb glass and can't find
So-
it to unhide
Well,
it.
this is like the temporary hide in Revit,
Yeah.
where it has that blue rectangle around and it gives you that it's something's temporary hidden. So similar to this, but I will say I like Review's version of it because now you can hover over it and
Yeah,
see that.
see
That's
it.
kind of a awesome feature.
It is.
How do you
pretty-
unhide them?
So in order to unhide them, I'm going to do one more just for fun. Okay. So 3 microps are hidden. They show up. If I select that, it turns them right off. So
and you
that's
can't
the
go back.
downside. You can't go back. You have to go find those.
Yeah, you can't. It
three.
doesn't look like you can unhide individual.
Can you control
Yeah.
Z?
That's a good question. Negative.
Nope. Dang.
Oh
So
wow.
You have to go rehide them, which you can do multiple at one time. I just use the shift key on the keyboard to do that. So it can be done, but I love this. I love that it's very visible.
Good question. Go to the markups list, and with it hidden, does it show any different?
Yeah. They
Oh,
completely out
They
of the markups
disappears
list.
even from the markups list.
Good question. Yeah. Interesting.
Now, what is that? There's a button I just see on the markups list. It has a little eyeball.
Oh, that's the old one. That's hide all.
Select.
Yeah.
You could select, and then you can hide the markup. So that just hides everything.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering if
Yeah.
that was gonna be like show the hidden ones. That's the old one. Yeah, you're right.
That's the old one.
So it is the same logo though, the little eyeball logo.
Yep.
But it's not.
Two different functions.
I could see this being something that they would add here, show hidden markups in here as well.
I was just looking in the columns to see if there was a way to say if it was hidden or not. That would be a good feature. I think it'd be kind of nice to have in the markups list to have a column that says hidden, and we can, know what that is.
What is there? Go back to the release notes. Is their note isn't to hide it from the markups list, right? It's just hide it from.
Quickly surface and interact with markups whose visibility is obscured by overlapping markups.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't
that's
say
the
anything about
use for it.
markups list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about visibility and being overlapped. So if you do have a scenario where you just have a ton of stuff on there, and I know we've got a studio session.
No, we don't. Everything is clean in our studio session.
Did we clean it up?
No,
This
it's
one?
it's that one. Yeah.
Oh boy, where we've just got tons of stuff.
It was the first one I ever made. I'm pretty sure. It's so old.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's the site. It's one of the site ones. I mean, all of them. Just click on it. Have fun.
Yeah. This is where you might want to use it, right? What's going on underneath here? Now, okay, good test. Can I hide things in a session? I can.
Even if it was someone else's.
Even if it was someone else's. So I can't move this, but I can't hide it. And now, I guess the question for you, Michael, if you can pull this up real quick, does that show hidden on your side too?
What is that? The 1.2?
Yeah, it's our demo session. Yeah, because that would be a really good test for this. Because
Which file was it? Because I think I'm in that session too.
Are you now? You are in this
It's
one.
a floor plan 72. Go hide one again. Hide that one right there in front of you. No. below. Big one. Yeah, it's not hiding
markers.
them.
Yeah, it's
So
not
it's
hiding
just
it
for
from me
me?
either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good
But
thing then.
but look at this. Stay there. I'm gonna cloud from my phone.
Oh, there's another update.
Whoa.
We're foreshadowing a little bit, right?
That's
So
cool.
that just popped up, and Michael added that on his phone, right? So let's talk about that. We got to our end of our list of review 21.1, but we're not talking about what's happening in Bluebeam Cloud. Now, of course, there are some updates and things down here that don't really matter a whole lot right now, but let's jump over to Bluebeam Cloud release notes because the big one Michael just dropped. iOS, collaborate in studio sessions. Collaborators can now easily join studio sessions right from an iOS mobile device without needing desktop access to review. This is a wonderful thing, right? Kind of. Now, take work-life balance out of the equation. But if it is one of those things where you need to quickly check and you got that submittal going on, you want to just pop in there and see what's doing. You don't have to go run back to the office, pull up the laptop, sign in, do all that other stuff. Now you're able to do that right from your phone, right? It's awesome. And we
I
just
didn't
saw
think
Michael
about
do that.
that. Work-life balance.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a thing. It's a thing. It's one of those things that now it's going to be easier for you to spend time in review all day long, right? How metaversy of them. But for the most part, you're on the go, you're on the bus, you're on the waiting at the airport, you can just knock out a couple things, do that collaboration. And we saw, Michael, you added that right there. Now, when you added that, were you able to, I mean, I see you changed the colors or the fill color. Do you have other capabilities in there?
Yes, if I click it, let's see. It tells me the date, the author. I can't edit it after I placed it for some reason. Let me see. This just telling me the pages, but if I click this before I place my next one, yeah, so after you place it, you get options to modify it. So like I can change the line width, something bolder. So scroll out a little bit. So I have the bold. It's bottom left. It's a rectangle that I'm placing.
Oh,
Yeah. So I have like different line thicknesses. Does it update it? No, it doesn't. It's probably waiting for me to place it. So I'll
yeah.
just do blue with a darker opacity with a outline.
Look at
Can't delete it from my phone.
that. Oh, I obviously can't delete it because you placed it, but I can't hide it.
Yeah, so I can't. Is it? Oh, there we go. Oh, so if you you hold it down, I can edit again or delete. Delete. Gone.
Boom. In real time from your iOS device. I tell you.
Everyone's gonna need. Apple's stock's gonna be going up.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have an iPhone without review at this point. And speaking of which, you don't have to have a subscription for that, right? You just need to have a Bluebeam ID in order to.
Um, was I in as Joe Demo?
I don't know.
Let me log in as my free account.
Yeah, because I only see Fallon here right now. But
Yeah, let me check.
yeah, when they did the Bluebeam Cloud stuff, so going back to the release notes, they made it. They've been making some changes, right? So, oh, there's even more. Um, Now you can create and delete sessions from the web. Ooh, we'll have to play with that. Invite and remove attendees from the web. Add and delete documents from the web. And then the one that we've all been asking for, and we're going to jump into this real soon. Create measurement markup within a web session on documents with a scale set prior to uploading. Right? So it has to have the scale set prior to uploading. But cool.
Okay, so go back to demo session. You're on 75, right?
Yep,
Okay,
yep.
75.
Demos there.
So this is a free account. This has no licenses. So basically, you're just a user that you invited to join. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, I had the ability to rectangle, cloud, ellipse, vector pen, text, arrow, call out, highlight, pen, cloud plus, image. Oh, I can take an image. That's cool. So let's go here. I should probably go where you're at. So hold
Yeah,
on.
you're not in the sheet.
I am
So-
in the sheet.
You are? How come I don't see you over here?
It doesn't say it probably since I'm in the web, but yeah, I just marked up right there.
Well, and I was going to say, it doesn't even show I'm in the sheet, but I am in the sheet as well.
Well, 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Always. So there's highlight.
There we go.
Can I add a photo to a markup? Nope. I could just add an image, photo or camera library. That's it.
You know, it's funny because some of these old photos are like of your old plants.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
old.
put a fit.
Yeah,
You're
I get some
saying you
new
can see the-
markups here.
You
Right?
say you see the evolution of my setup.
Oh boy.
Drag the image so you can scale an image. So can I move it after? No, you can't.
There we go. Your old plants. Look at that.
I know.
From,
This is literally the evolution of my office. So there's the image. You can put the image information and stuff. That's cool.
Look at that. Looks pretty good.
It's a
And
high
you added
res.
that from your phone without even having an account. So let's
Yeah.
talk about what that means for all of this, right? This is kind of a big deal when it comes to going back to that whole work-life balance thing, but like you don't have to have the Surface anymore. You don't have to have an iPad anymore. You don't have to bring a Chromebook or some other thing. Most people, I mean, with Android and iOS being the dominating forces in the smartphone game, most people have those in their pocket, or at least somebody on the job site has one. You don't even have to have a license. So administration wise, that does create some challenges, right? But that's where we're going to be able to jump into review from the app and take a look at that there as we go, right? So let me.
I mean, I think this just what you're able to do now to collaborate on a PDF with anyone that doesn't need to have an installer review and access anywhere. Like, hey, download this app, sign up, and I'm going to invite whatever email address you used is huge. I feel like.
Yep. So I went and made sure my web browser was ready to go. And then here I can go in and take a look at some of these new functionalities within here. So we're just talking about studio sessions. And now people are going to be able to go and see stuff. So here's the same demo session. It should kick me out of review because I'm in the same session. All right. Boom. Right. I've been disconnected from this session because I opened it on a different computer, aka the web browser. Right. There's security that I want to see. Do you agree with that, Kyle? You want to see
Well, it is one of those that it is preventing some users from multiple accesses and trying to do the same account. So it is a security thing that it could be open somewhere else, and you want to only have one login at a time. So it's similar to multiple companies are doing that. They're pushing for not being able to sign into the multiple devices at the exact same time. So
it makes
because if you left it open on a computer and all of a sudden someone hops on, it's like, hey.
This is our busy one. I didn't. There we go. So this is the one you were just in, but I don't see your photo anymore. Interesting. Right, this is the same one because I hid those things. Okay. I can see that Kyle's in here.
That's a different sheet.
Is it?
Yeah, that has the demo.
Yeah, I was looking for the one that had all the images on there, and I guess I'm not seeing that.
And it was called this Plan 75.
There it is.
There it is.
Plan 75. It helps if I open up the right file. Funny how that works, right? Well, let's let this load, and there we go. There is the image that Michael added from his free account. So,
why don't you have measurements in yours?
because this one does not have a scale set, right? Your PDF, in order for measurements to work, your PDF has to be set to scale prior to uploading. You cannot do that after the fact. Again, in a studio session, your pages have to be set up perfectly. All the sheets that you want to include, all the scales, all that stuff first and before you upload them, right? Remember, the reason for this is that if I'm reviewing and I go home for the day and then Michael comes in and he starts adding sheets, my review is now worthless, right? So we want to make sure that we're all reviewing the same source of truth as we go. And that's why there's a limitation between studio sessions versus studio projects and everything else. So,
but you can change the scale in it. That's so weird.
You can change the scale in here.
So go to A2.21 floor plan.
2.21. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think you have the latest browser. Oh, floor plan 2. Go back up because you're in the 21. Scroll up.
Remember, I'm not an architectural guy. You guys with this .2 stuff. .2.2.
1. Scroll up. It's like the first one.
Okay.
2.21. There you go.
Talking about junk drawers, right?
We're never cleaning this one out, okay?
No. This is our example of bad habits.
There you go. So bottom left
is the scale.
Yeah. So bottom left is your measurement, but bottom right, where the plus and the percentage is, see there's a calibrate button. So view scale, but look it. Click that. Click it. Click another scale. Boom. It's changing it.
But it's grayed out.
I know, but
I can't select.
Okay. So maybe not yet.
So that's interesting. I can change it, but I cannot hit OK. So that's what I was worried about, right? That would be disastrous if someone went in here and added a bunch of measurements and then changed the scale on the whole page for everybody. So interesting. So you'll notice when I was in that other PDF, now I'll jump over to a different one, that measurement panel or button from the toolbar goes away completely, right? We're looking right down here. When I jump back to the one that does have a measurement set, I now have a measurement button. We've been asking for this for a long time. We've been constantly getting questions about it. When are measurements coming? And here we go, boys and girls. Isn't that fun? So let's go play with it.
Yes.
Right? Let's go zoom in. Now, of course, the getting around is not the same in cloud.
I use the control wheel. So control on the wheel.
But I want to pan. There we go.
Oh, okay.
I want to get closer here because I want to measure this 30 foot, right? We've measured this 30 foot many times over the years. We know it works. So let's see how it does. If this is properly scaled, because it was set to the PDF before it was uploaded into sessions, this length measurement should give me 30. Now, as Michael and I were playing with before we started this morning, we don't have snap functionality, right? And the reason is why, Michael?
I believe it's rasterized. So the PDF gets rasterized in a web browser UI versus it being vector enriched data, but you can still have the same markup. So I don't know how the data translates from like an API perspective, but I'm assuming that that's probably what it is, because it's the same reason what you have within Autodesk Construction Cloud, if you remember, that you can't snap to things because it's rasterizing it.
But either way, even for not snapping, I got the same measurement there. So this is
I wonder
cool.
What it looks like after you've made the measurement and then you go back into
the desktop.
The desktop. I'm doing it right now. Like, okay. Can you re-snap it?
Well, I'd have to go in and because you won't be able to edit my markups or measurements.
I think I made one earlier on
Okay.
one of them.
But as with most things here in Bluebeam Cloud, there is that sort of grayed out triangle in the lower right-hand corner. And if you hover over that and hold down, it will change your ability of what that tool does. So we do have length measurements. So my mouse is freaking out here. I need to do a software update or something. It wants to click when I'm not clicking. I have length, I have area, and I have count. So I can go drop a count measurement and go grab whatever I want here and have that work accordingly, which is pretty darn slick. So we've got count measurements, area measurements, and length measurements, all things that I imagine are going to be pretty darn handy. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this session.
So they have counts too? Is it a hold down? Oh, wow. That's wild.
Yep. So I'm going to go back in, go find that same sheet that I was in before. Oh, come here. Come here. Like I said, it's not just my over-caffeinated fingers, it's my mouse just flipping out. These are not in the same order, 2.21.
They're not in the same order as the one on the desktop.
Right. So I made this measurement.
Dude, that's wild. Yeah, I just clicked it. It becomes an right? No, yeah, I can't move yours. I just moved mine. Okay. It becomes an actual. It doesn't look like a true Bluebeam measurement in the cloud app, but it is.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Now, what I don't see are the counts that I made. Interesting.
Did you make counts?
Yeah, in the cloud. Didn't I? Didn't I just do that? I put some checkboxes here and all the way around, and they are not there.
So here, I'll put some in there now, right by your 30 and see.
Okay.
I will say I was trying to open that one. And it's not opening on my side.
Oh. Oh boy.
So I would assume your count measurements work now from your tool sets too. But I won't get into that. But yes, I'm placing some checks. Do you see the checks yet?
No.
I just hit escape.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Now I see them. Interesting. So maybe I didn't finish that. So you brought in a really good point. What happens to your measurements? So remember, when you first installed Review 21, it asked you if you wanted to sync your toolboxes, tool chests up with the cloud. And most people said yes, sure, which meant that when you're in Bluebeam Cloud, you lost the ability to use any measurement tools because those would be grayed out. So I'm going to go back. It's going to kick me out of here review again. See, I'm going to be able to go back and hopefully see.
Are you using Microsoft Edge?
Yeah.
You're not a you're not a Chrome guy?
No, Chrome uses too many resources. So it's either Edge, Safari, or Opera for me. Yeah. Yeah, I'm old. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm judging.
Yeah. So I still no measuring tools in here.
So you don't have any. Is that why?
I have some. Yeah. I've got measurements in here. These are all measurements areas.
So they're not, the tool sets aren't supported yet.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, this has been out for a week. If they've come this far, you know they're going to add that stuff too.
Everyone's been asking for this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. This has been a long time coming.
But I will say you can't measure on your phone. But remember, how long has it been? Like a couple months since Studio came out for the web browser? It's been about a couple months. So now you can
just go back,
access Studio on your phone. So I would say a couple months, maybe quicker to measure on your phone. So you can't measure on your phone yet. And maybe that's because I didn't grab the right plan. So let me see. This one has the set scale.
Studio Sessions came out on the web in April, right? April, May, June. Look at how much development has happened. Now, if we compare that to Review 21 as a whole, which has been out for how long now? Almost 2 years.
Yeah.
The rate of updates is fascinating, right? So they're coming out more frequently. Now, what does that mean for the administration side? I know I was going to mention that earlier. So, Kyle, with more frequent updates, and keep in mind these downloads are over a gigabyte each. What's your recommendation for how organizations should allow or disallow or manage these updates that are coming out more frequently with Review?
Yeah, so definitely depending on the size of the company and also depending on the permission levels of the end users, we may have the admins or IT help disable the update notification so they don't get it. So one of the things about a lot of the ITs will like to do is they only want certain people to get the update notification so that they know it's available, but then disable it for the end users because they don't want the end users saying download and then can't install. And then all of a sudden they have some people on some versions and some on others. So yeah, so definitely disabling it is definitely a high thing on their list. And you could do this by going into a registry key, modify it, and then you can batch it to your users however you choose. So you can do group policies or any other deployment software that you might have to get that registry key updated for all users. And if let me get to my registry and I can show this.
Mine didn't let me know there was an update.
So maybe yours is already disabled.
Yeah. Did yours let you know you were getting an update, Jason?
Usually it does. I think this one I manually went and checked.
That's what I'm saying. I think we had an update with SSO.
Mine the 2020 or the 2021.2 for me, I got an update.
Okay.
Or I got an update notification. So
yeah, here at ATG we did move our setup to SSO, right? So since we have over 100 licenses, 100 users, we are able to leverage SSO. So we started testing that for a few different platforms, and Bluebeam is one of them. So that's kind of exciting.
Yeah. So we're looking at registry keys, I guess is what you're saying?
Yeah, so there is a registry key that you can go into to disable it. I don't have the ability to share the screen, so if you have that.
Oh, am I the owner of this thing? Do I need to give you permission? Kyle, remote, make a presenter, change.
There we go. All right.
Yeah, because I have the ability to end it, so that's probably why.
Yep. All right. So within the registry, if you go under the H key, local machine, software, Bluebeam software, and then whatever version you're using, you could actually have done this even prior within Review 20, Review 19, Review 21. You have this here. And then under Review, there is this disable in-app updates. And if I modify it, I can change it from a 0 to a 1. And when I have a value of 1 in there, if the user opens the software, it will not notify them of an update. You will have to manually have it installed by your IT or something like that. So it is one of those that, again, depending on the company, depending on how they're set up, we have some companies that they have really locked down the users. They don't want it to show because of just install issues. Definitely have this set. We've had some other companies that just, you can install when you need to. So they give that permission, but this is one of those that for big companies that need to have IT manage it, highly recommend.
Right. Now, if you've got a 500 person firm and they all check for updates and start downloading 1.1 gigabyte files at the same time, chances are something else is going to be off, and then it's going to, because I know when I installed it, it's like, you have Outlook open, you better close that. You have Excel open, you have to close down a whole bunch of things, and it does affect your productivity for about 5 to 10 minutes. right?
Yep.
So if that cumulatively over a 500 person firm on the same day, that IT person is going to be losing their mind.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
what's his registry editor like? So if you changed it, it's not changing it for the whole company.
No. So
So how
what
do you
you do
deploy that?
basically is I can come in here and change this value. And then if I right click on this, I can say export, and that will save a file, and I can put it somewhere. And then that file you can then deploy to your users. And it's only exporting this particular key right here. So it's not exporting the entire registry. It's just doing that single key. Then when you
What does that look
double
like?
click on it or deploy it, it only updates that value in the registry.
Oh wow. Learn something new every day.
Yeah, it's very handy because as Jason said, you don't IT does not want a headache of like, oh, now we have to worry about all these users and trying to, hey, wait. The other benefit too is that we have seen for a lot of ITs that they want to get the admins to see it, so then they will then test it. So they will then verify, hey, I'm going to push this on a couple of computers, see how it works. You also don't want to have it, have users install it and have things that you didn't want on there. Because IT does have the ability with the installs to say, install this, do this, don't install this, things like that. So with larger firms, they definitely want to have that customization so that they just don't have all their end users having random stuff that they don't need. So
Yeah, because I do have the thing for how not to allow access to Studio. So I do have that because some firms don't want their content in a server of AWS. So
yep. Yeah, there are different permission levels that you can set in here. The plugins as well. When you're installing it, you can choose what plugins to enable, what plugins to disable. Even the OCR, you can come in here and say, certain things like I don't need OCR for certain things. You have the capability of customizing to say you do or you don't. So
you can't point to the profiles in here though, can you?
good question. I don't recall if you. I think there's a file that you can push for that. I don't think it's a registry. I think that's a file.
Yeah, it's a
So
PostScript, right?
there's a file inside, or if I go into the File Explorer and browse to a certain path, there's a file that tells me where things are located, and that you can push to users if you wanted to.
Because that's all it is in the PostScript. It's saying go to here to look for X, Y, and Z profile and make
Correct.
active or whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah,
So
I like the back end stuff like that. That is fun to play with. But if you don't know what you're doing in that registry, I got to make the huge thing. Don't mess it up because I can mess up the computer.
yeah, it's a dangerous place. I don't go there.
Yep.
So with a couple minutes left, Kyle, what are you seeing lately in support? What things have been coming through from a Bluebeam perspective?
Well, some of the major things are the account side of it, where they're adding users, inviting users, and they just don't know how to do it. So that's one of the biggest things on support we've been getting lately is, hey, my user's not getting a license. Why not? And we go in there and we look and we find out that either one, they haven't been assigned a license, or they didn't accept the invite.
They accept the invite. I think Bluebeam just needs to get away with it. Like,
yeah, I agree,
user
100%.
does not need to accept my invite to this license. I am giving them this license. Can you just add it to this domain, and then, boom, we're done. Because I think that's a base misstep. Because we had that too internally, where it's like it says they didn't accept. I'm like, well, you don't have a license because you didn't accept it.
Yep. And then we have to resend the invite. So it's a multi-step process. It's like, oh, it expired. So now you can't click that link that I sent you a week ago. I have to get you a new one.
Yeah.
So I just had one case this morning, the same thing. We're like, why is this user show expired? Well, the license isn't expired, just that invite. So we go in there, resend it. After that point, it works usually. So
Yeah. And I've been wanting to like create a video. I have that white paper that shows you how to add and remove users, but I just don't. We unfortunately with our, it's not called the gateway, whatever the new name of it is, has client stuff in it. So we can't like, as much as I would love to demo, there's just too much stuff in there that we can't show like a quick video.
You can show our license stuff, but you just got to get to there before you share your screen. But yeah, the portal part is one thing I wanted to talk about too. The gateway that you had with maintenance and review 21 or review 20 is quite different from what you see in review 21. In some ways, it's easier, but you're also missing the information, right? Because with review 20, you were able to install that license on a computer. And that computer has a specific IP address, which would also ping it to let you know the last time that was used or accessed or whatever. So it gave you that sort of usability metric, which was handy to know, like, hey, is Michael even using review every day? Who's actually using it? Do we need these licenses? Now in review 21, you don't have that sort of metric. So what do you do in that case, Kyle? Have you heard of anything coming like that, or is there a different way to see how often review 21 is being used on a computer that is in your domain?
So far, currently, I have not seen any thing of it being there or a way to track that. I would assume that behind the scenes on Bluebeam's side, they do have that information. So we could probably contact our reps and say, hey, can we get some usage here? And they can do that. So my guess is that Bluebeam is working on this feature for admins. It takes some time for them to gather information and then post up there. Even I will say, even Autodesk, it took a little bit to get that information as well to be visible on the page. So some of these companies that switched to it, they definitely made it like, oh, you have these licenses, you have them now, you can assign users. Yeah. Now we're going to add, you can start tracking this information a little bit better. So I would make an assumption that at some point, since Bluebeam is pushing some of the cloud stuff and all that, eventually that will show up in the page. I'm very hopeful of it. I've sent the feature requests page to a lot of clients, like, hey, submit this. We need this feature in here, and so I'm making that assumption it's coming.
Well, and keep in mind too, with review 20, it was installed on a computer, and you had one thing. Now with review 21, you could be signed into up to 5 things at a time. So it's going to have to be looking for multiple locations of where that is getting triggered, and now they got to deal with your phone.
Yep.
Right. So it's a big lift. So it's not like I'm shaming Bluebeam for not having this, because that's a monumental task, but it'd be pretty handy.
Yeah, user data would be huge. Even if you made, no, I'm not going to say it. Never mind.
I mean, it's just one of those things where, if folks are looking to leverage the benefit of core versus complete, being able to see exactly how your users, because some of these firms have 500 plus licenses. What do you do with it in that case? Do we really need core or complete? Because that difference is multiple zeros on a line item. So it's quite interesting. And yeah, Dave, 100%, they're collecting the data somewhere, tinfoil hat and all. But
yeah, because I'd want to know like how many, if Jason, if he's is using complete, how complete is he using complete?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See, I made that rhyme there.
I like that. If you've got people in basic who keep hitting like the sort and filter button that doesn't work, that'd be one of those things like, hey, well, we've got some issues there, but
yeah, some like data analytics of like, hey, this person keeps trying to use a tool that's part of complete. Like you would think that would be in their best interest of like, hey, this person's trying to use features that are incomplete. You may want to switch. Or the adverse too, you want to save your clientele some money too. Like, hey, your Jason hasn't used the complete tier license capabilities for this month. Do you want to switch him? Like alerts you. Do you want to switch him to core? Like that would be cool. Some like updated feature thing to send your IT people. You probably don't want to do that for like 500 people. I guess you can say don't alert me. but that'd be a great evaluation at the end of the year. Like, here's all this data. Jason used complete tier options for only 2 months out of the 12 months, right? Like, he needs to maybe just get core.
Right. And that's where, we have a lot of conversations with clients here. Like, okay, it's $110 difference. Is it worth it? I obviously vote for complete every time, just for sort and filter and dynamic fill. But, some firms might not have that. And changing the topic a little bit, what if Bluebeam went to a token or credit like system? So Autodesk and Esri, they both have credits and tokens where, hey, I just need that button for today, and you can go do it. Esri tokens or Esri credits are like 12 cents each. Autodesk ones are what, $4, $5 each. But that'd be one of those things that
I don't know if we want to get there,
yeah,
Jason.
I don't know that I want that.
I don't like the token world.
No,
No,
you didn't grow up in arcades though.
I can't rebuttal that, so I'm out.
Yeah, I always use the arcade analogy. Like, hey, I'm going to show up to work today with a pocket full of quarters and tokens. Like, what games can I play? Like, that one costs 3 tokens, but this one costs 1. What's worth it to me? So,
well, I think it's beneficial for so this is my rebuttal, is that tokens are beneficial for those users that aren't in it every day. But what about those users that are using? Let's just use an example of 3 different softwares simultaneously for the day. Right? Every day they do that. That it doesn't, right? Like, the value of that in comparison to it being like an access to a collection.
Well, and what Jason was saying with the Autodesk thing is the Autodesk has the option of tokens, so it could be just they would have to have multiple plans. So like, you do have tokens like, hey, here's a set of tokens I'm going to purchase, but then I have the full licenses over here as well that I'm going to have the users that are constantly in it.
Yeah, like a hybrid.
Yeah. So if they were to go to something like that, it would be similar to Autodesk, that they have the option of both. You have a full subscription that goes a length for your all-day users, everyday users, and then the flex or tokens for occasional.
Which would make sense.
Yeah. that would, if they were going to go that way, they would 100% have to do that, because as Jason said, like, oh, if I, $4 for this day, every single day, that's going to be way more than the price of just a license. So
yeah, because if you do like calculator 400 divided by 360, it's $1 a day. So if you did $4 a day,
yeah, you're tripling the price.
Yeah.
So
it adds up, and we've got firms who don't want to go down that route, but at the same time, it could be handy because if you have 2 power users, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I think with everything getting consolidated, it's just a matter of time before it's like just one price.
Yeah, one price.
And I did see one question in the chat about is this information in the log about the usage thing? It might be in the logs, but you would have to go to every single computer that they touched and find the logs for the usage on the computer side. If it's on the phone side or the website, that's not in the logs.
Oh, wow. The log does tell you everything you did.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just for the day?
I believe it. I can't remember if it stores scrolling. Like a multiple days in one log. But
it's just from the date. It's multiple days, yeah. That's wild.
I know there are some log files that will get replaced every day, but there's probably a couple log files that are multiple days, is just kind of usage of throughout the time period. I think there's a setting in there of how big or something you can make it, and it may remove a portion and rewrite it. So, because I know and that was a good thing for support site, is that sometimes those logs are very handy for troubleshooting. Certain things are not happening. We get those log files, we look through them, and we can see, hey, there's certain things here happening. And Bluebeam asks for them all the time. We get so many times they'll come back and say, well, we see here this was blocked, or this was happening, or they didn't have a license of this. So
crazy. So as Dave said, someone has the data. We are not alone. Someone's always watching. So
someone's always
note,
watching.
On that note, well,
Always
speaking of watching, thanks for tuning in today for Morning Coffee Review. We will see you next Tuesday. Topic TBD. You'll see that email come out from ATG. Otherwise, thanks for joining us, Kyle. Good to see your smiling face again, buddy. And as usual, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
See you all next time.
there you go.